8. How to speak teacher. Children, said Mr. Goosegarden, I certainly hope you won't disappoint your parents with this kind of rowdy behavior at the open house. Coco raised her hand. Roscoe started it, Mr. Goosegarden, she said. He made walrus teeth. Coco was not really being helpful, if you ask me. I'm sure Roscoe will remember that walrus teeth are not appropriate, said Mr. Goosegarden, and that chairs are for sitting, not sword fighting. He winked at me. Mr. Goosegarden and I go way back. Sorry, I said. I didn't know there was a no walrus teeth rule. That's okay, Roscoe, said Mr. Goosegarden. I know you will come through this afternoon. Smiled at Miss Diz. Don't worry, he said. The first year of teaching is always the hardest. Mr. Goosegarden waved goodbye. The door closed behind him. Miss Diz sighed. She looked at the clock on the wall. It's way past time for reading groups. Let's take off the head bobbles. I mean, the antenna. Just do the best you can this afternoon. She sounded sort of worn out. I felt bad about the walrus teeth incident. Like I said before, kids have so many rules to remember. There are a gazillion things we are not supposed to do. Who knew making walrus teeth was one of them? After we put away the baubles and sticks, we sat at tables for reading groups. Reading is fun, but it can be very hard work. You can get pretty thirsty trying to make those letters into words. After I read 4 whole sentences, I went to the water fountain to get a drink. The fountain is next to the art cupboard. Just then, Mr. Frisbee came in. He is a kindergarten teacher. May I borrow some chalk? Mr. Frisbee asked Miss Diz. Sure, said Miss Diz. She opened the art cupboard. I could see the art supplies I'd brought, including Drusilla's head and the Don't You Dare glue. Miss Diz gave Mr. Frisbee a fresh box of chalk. Here you go, she said. How was the dress rehearsal? Mr. Frisbee asked. Miss Diz whispered something I couldn't hear. Then she laughed. At this rate, I'll be looking for another job soon. They both laughed, but I was pretty sure it was worried laughing. Maybe you were wondering how I could tell. After all, teachers can be confusing. Not as confusing as parents, but still, sometimes teachers have trouble expressing themselves. Fortunately, I have served in preschool and kindergarten already. Also, Mommy and Me music, and Jimborama, and my clay class, Pots for Tots. So I'm happy to explain teacher stuff to you. Here is my goof-proof Roscoe Riley teacher translator. I told you not to feed glitter to the goldfish. Really? Shh! Take the Play-Doh out of your ear this instant. I quit. Just like the kindergarten teacher. It's pretty easy to understand teachers once you get the hang of it. Still working on figuring out how to speak parent, though. I thought about what Miss Diz had said to Mr. Frisbee. At this rate, I'll be looking for another job soon. What if Mr. Goosegarden fired Miss Diz just because of our rowdy behavior? That would be awful. After all, Miss Diz is a great teacher, even if she is just a beginner. Then I thought about my kindergarten teacher from last year, the one who changed jobs after I painted the hamsters. She works at an office now, with no kids in it, and no green hamsters. How boring is that? I could not let such a horrible thing happen to Miss Diz.